All right, it's 10 after, so I'm going to go ahead and jump in. For those of you that don't know, our specialty that we are constantly trying to refine is how to help your player perform at a high school level before their freshman tryouts. And the reason I arrived at that over time was really seeing multiple kids go through that freshman tryout threshold and seeing how stressful that can be. If it's basically a coin toss and I don't know if I'm going to make it or not, it's a lot of stress and a lot of disappointment. Devastation is the most common word if they don't make their high school team and they are really trying to strive toward that. And so our whole shtick has become how do we get them so well prepared that it's just easy going when they get to high school tryouts. It's like I'm not stressed out about it. I know I'm going to make the team and maybe even play up at the JV or the varsity level in my freshman year. A new model that I've been thinking about for a while, what I've started calling the player journey. I've broken down into 5 phases, and I think about this both on a macro scale, like between kindergarten and the end of high school, this cycle could happen, but it also happens kind of in the micro between like third to fifth grade and sixth to eighth grade, and again, probably ninth to 12th grade once they're in high school. And the first phase is exploration. Like I'm new here, like if I'm in kindergarten or I'm entering third grade and playing competitively, it's like I'm exploring, I'm figuring out, I'm discovering, what's here, what's going on, what do I need to do? And then once I have a little experience under my belt and a little success, I experience ignition is what I call it, where I'm just like on fire about basketball. Like this is the best thing ever. I can't get enough. I want to play everywhere I can for every team possible and run my parents ragged with the logistics of driving me to said practices and games. And then the third phase I see is focus, where it's like, all right, I expanded my horizons. I was on fire about basketball, and now I want to get good at these few things that I see problems with. And I think a lot of parents and coaches even kind of jump over the first 2 stages. Like they don't give players a chance to explore and get excited about basketball. It's just like, here's a bunch of boring drills that you should focus on. And the player's like, why? Like I don't even like this much. Like I'm not here for the focus phase yet. And so kind of timing this appropriately is also part of the phases. And then the fourth one is confidence. And I have another model I won't get into tonight, but I call it the confidence pyramid. And similarly, parents want to jump ahead and get to confidence. Like they know it's necessary, but they kind of skip over things. And I think this sequence really is shown out over time in my experience, where if they did explore and ignite and spend some time focusing, then it's like I focused and built a skill set, and now I'm confident, right? It's like built on my capabilities. And so confidence is not just the fluffy confidence that I call it. It's actually concrete confidence. It's like I know what I know what I know how to do on the court, and therefore, I'm here to play and I'm pretty sure of myself. And then the last one is ambition, which is kind of where that threshold to the next level. So if you think about a sixth, seventh, eighth grade player, if they get to that feeling of confidence, then their ambition suddenly is raised, right? It's like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good in eighth grade. Now I want to go play high school basketball, right? I now see a bigger vision. I'm more ambitious. I want to go play at a varsity level. And then as they're going through high school, it's very commonly like, okay, I think I could be a college player now because I've reached that next threshold of confidence. And so I've just been thinking around this cycle and like how to explain this to parents and try to place players when we evaluate them. Where are you on this cycle? Because it could be again on a big macro, like, okay, I'm eighth grade, I'm going into high school, but I'm not very confident yet. I need to focus, right? Or it could be I'm in like we just talked to Luke Benoit is on the call. Grady is in second grade, I think, maybe going into third now. And he's still in the ignition phase. Like he's been in our exploration program. He's been learning how to play basketball, and now he's like really loving it and excited about it. And so knowing where your player is and knowing what's next is kind of what I'm after by demonstrating this. So the 5 phases of the player journey. Anybody have any questions about that? This is actually the first time I've explained it that way, and so I'd love any feedback or thoughts you guys have.
Right. It
If
makes
not,
sense. Seems to make sense.
good. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, the next thing I wanted to show you, which is something most of you are probably familiar with if you've worked with us at all, is my favorite acronym of 2024 is when I came up with this, which is SOCS. And we actually hand out socks of a certain color based on the player's skill level. And so the acronym is the System for Objective Classification of Knowledge and Skill. And what we've done with that, I just overlaid my 5 phases I just went over with that. And so, on that big macro scale of the whole journey a player is going to go through, we expect kindergarten, up to fifth grade to be kind of in that exploration stage. And then the most volume, like if we're looking at the bell curve of players we work with, most of them come in as green socks, whether they're, fifth up to ninth grade, their skill level is somewhere around what we would call a green sock. And so they're typically in the ignition phase. Like they love it, but they know they need help. They're not there yet with their skill. Like they're not succeeding at the way they want, but they really love to play and they want more. And then focus is really where I find we do our best work. It's like we take a player that's here and we step them forward over 6 months to a year to 2 years, and they get really good at doing focused work and actually level up their skill really quickly. And then we have the confidence formula program where players that are really serious about high school spend 3 months with us and are really changing their trajectory from I don't know if I'm going to make it to I'm definitely playing high school basketball. And then my latest thought baby I'll get into at the end of tonight is what I'm calling the ambition series, but really players that have gone through all these phases and are now like, I'm really ambitious about playing a high level of high school basketball or even college beyond high school. And, I want even more. And so, again, this is kind of the first time I've overlaid my 5 phases with our SOC system to kind of just give another layer of here you are, and here's what's next for you from the parent perspective, what your player is most likely going to be experiencing as they level up. So now getting into some of our programs. So for our youngest age group, we've experimented all the way down to like 3-year-olds. And we've basically decided the 7 and up, at least skill level of 7 and up, because there's some pretty skilled 6-year-olds we found. So we try to make that a gray line and have some acceptability for kids based on skill level. Because, the whole reason I built the sock colors is that age is a terrible indicator of skill in the most cases. And so 7 to 10-year-old skill level is what we have described as the exploration league. And this model I created with fun compared to time is what I use to describe this to parents. Like what we want is players to be exploring and having fun all along. And what most players do is take a hard turn into, oh my gosh, this is too hard and I'm overwhelmed and the competition's too intense and I'm done with basketball. Or I'm at the rec program and I'm actually pretty skilled, but I'm in second grade and I'm stuck with second graders and I'm terribly, terribly bored. And so I don't want to play basketball. And so what we really try to take is, our whole philosophy of play before practice is like we're going to show them the game and explore basketball in pieces. So that's our tagline for the program for this age group. This is actually what Grady has been in that Luke was talking about. And so we help your player explore basketball in pieces. So the other part of this is we're hardly ever playing 5-on-5. We're playing 1-on-1 and 2-on-2 and 3-on-3 and like we're exploring pieces of basketball and showing them how they fit together, but getting them comfortable playing by taking that exploration approach. And so we offer this year round. The schedule right now is Monday afternoons from 4 to 5 p.m. And we do it on a 4-week session. It's $99 for all 4 weeks, or you can drop in. We actually have a new system that allows you to just check mark which dates you're going to come to. So if you look at the month and say like I'm coming to these two, but not those two, then you just pay according to what you will be attending. And then
Hey Jay,
yes.
I'm like chiming in on Luke's call. So
All right.
Grady's mom.
Yeah,
We
welcome.
were doing the Monday class, but then when you had the Wednesday option at 5, it worked better like work wise.
Okay.
I know because of attendance, you kind of
Yeah.
had to, not have that class. So Grady tried the ignition class, and I think there were some challenges with the age disparity where he was kind of like stuck in the middle as a third grader with
Yeah.
couple 6-year-olds and a couple 12-year-olds most weeks. Like we kept him going because he was like, we're like, what was good? You know, there was always something good, but
Right.
it was still, I don't know that he got as much as from what the Wednesday class had been. So
Yeah.
I didn't know what you were planning for that, whether
Yeah,
it was going to
well,
be just Mondays or
yeah, so I
whether.
think we're gonna keep it as a mixed class on Wednesday right now, 6 to 7. That's actually one that I decided to leave out of my presentation because it's gonna be too many different things that get convoluted. But we do have a Wednesday skill class. It's called Foundations that is kind of the pair that we've had in the past between Monday and Wednesday. And so, like Andrea just described, we have a wide age group there. We're trying to do it based on skill level, so yellow sock to green sock. But we have kids from age 6 that are right there at the edge of yellow, all the way up to kids that are 12, green sock players. And so our coach Ken, who runs that class, is trying to basically build two cabals of kids. But someone like Grady, she just said, is in the middle. He's either way he goes sorted. He's 8 years old with the 12-year-olds, or he's 8 years old with the 6-year-olds. Like, he's not finding great parity there. So
Yeah, no,
that's
it's like the
understandable.
tall 9-year-old that looks like a 12-year-old, but is a 9-year-old. Like,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. So our plan right now, like, February is always a weird month. People are wrapping up their season and then everybody leaves the state on vacation at the end of February. And so our current plan is in March to add back in a second class, if we have interest, which I expect we will. And so then you'd have a more natural fit with his peers in that case.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. So the other Monday class is the Ignition League, and we just kind of did a revamp of this. If nobody's heard of 3x3 yet, it's what they've played in the Olympics now twice, and it's been around for over a decade. It still hasn't caught fire the way I want it to in the US, but it's basically a half-court game with a specific rule set and a 12-second shot clock. And so I call it my favorite way to coach without saying a word, because we just turn on the shot clock. Everybody wants to get a buzzer beater. Their peers will reinforce them doing something rather than being left holding the hot potato and having the clock run out. They're like, take the shot. We're gonna lose the ball anyway. And so we've tried this on like Friday night and Saturday and Sunday over the years, trying to find a day and time that works to make it like a pickup league. And meanwhile, we've had this Ignition League, we called it, on Monday night. That's been kind of the core for our 6th, 7th, 8th grade skill level. Like, a lot of our green sock players will at least start here with us. And so anyway, my idea for the new year was to combine those two and basically have a developmental league based on that 3x3 format. And so we're playing a game with a shot clock. We're breaking down some team tactics and some individual skills that we noticed as they were playing that first game. And then we're pulling all that back together to play again by the end of the hour and a half. And so this is a 5 p.m. to 6:30 on Monday nights. And similarly, we offer it year round. We offer it on a 4-week session cycle. So you can look at the month of February and pick the dates you want. And then, really what we're after here is we help the player accelerate their development through situational competition. So we're going to play with the official rules and the speed of the game, but we're also going to break it down and say, like, let's play one-on-one with this chunk of the game and get good at that tonight before we go back to playing the whole fast-paced game. So this is one of our most popular programs. We went up to 22 players at one point, I think March of last year, and we average around 6 to 10, and we just keep it going year round and have a lot of good success with players that, if they're not into doing more of the focused, more intense work with us in a one-on-one or a smaller group setting, then this is kind of where they live and thrive and really can make a lot of progress by just getting more game repetitions. The best thing about 3-on-3 is more time on task, more touches the ball, more space. There's not as many people in the way and there's not as many people to hog the ball. So it happens fast and you just naturally develop more by playing more in that format. So it's one of my favorite things. I wanted to show kind of what that drop in looks like now, because we did make this change back in December. I think it was when we first rolled it out. But basically, if you go to that Exploration League or the Ignition League or the Foundations program that Andrea was mentioning, that's Wednesday night, You can select to pay for all days and just come to the whole month. Or if you know, like, hey, we're going to be on vacation that fourth week of February, then you unselect that and you don't have to pay for it in that case. So it allows you a little more flexibility. And we're not having to track credits. You know, if you missed a session, make it up later. It's just you pick the days you're coming and you check out at the start and you're good to go. The next topic with the 3x3 in mind is something that I've been seeing a need for and hearing from a lot of people, a lot of parents, a lot of coaches that we know across the Seacoast is a 5th and 6th grade girls program using that 3x3 format. Because really what I hear is the girls in that age group have so much going on, it's hard to get 10 to 12 players to go make an actual tournament travel team and go play, you know, to have an extended season outside of what they might do at the rec. Whereas with this, they could just have 4 players and have a team and, you know, go play together. Maybe you have a group of 8 friends and we know at least 4 of them can make it every week to come to something. But we're really looking at rolling this out in March, like after like the main tournament season ends around mid-March, and run it really for 4 weeks through mid-April before the April vacation break, and kind of pilot this. So I'm looking at Sundays. That's when we've had good success in the past, and seems to be where a lot of girls could be available in that age group from who we've talked to so far. So the time frame we're aiming for is 2 to 4 p.m. and Sundays starting in mid-March, restricted to 5th and 6th grade girls, because most of what we've done in 3x3 so far has always turned out to be boys. And so if a girl shows up, she's not that into being harassed by her 12-year-old male peers in most cases. So having a girls only program, I'm really excited about. And I think we could get a lot of our current clients have been excited about this idea. And so we're really trying to tie that together and make it a thing in the next couple of weeks so that we can push it out and get teams signed up. Really looking for 4 teams. Only needs to be 4 players per team. We like to have at least 1 sub. And we're going to charge $200 per team to do that. And so basically it'll be a 2-hour kind of round robin. It's a 10-minute game format. And so really we can get about 4 games per hour if we're really churning it quickly with different teams. And so we would get everybody potentially 2 games over a 2-hour period. And then they can be watching, you know, the other teams as they're competing. So any questions or input on that? I don't know if anyone specifically has a daughter in that age group that's on the call tonight.
I
Maybe-
do.
Maybe
Emily is in 5th grade.
Yeah, okay. Perfect. So how would that work for you guys?
I think it would work okay.
Okay.
We might have one weekend in March. We might not be able to make it.
Sure. Do you think you could pull together like some other girls from Exeter that she plays with to do that?
Yeah, we're in Brentwood and I think so. I've actually forwarded your email
Okay,
on the Zoom call to a few other people
great.
just to, and I forwarded just your program to people.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We call it the cat herder position. If it's the one parent that's like taking the initiative to try to put a group together, it's like you got to go out and herd the cats and talk about the schedules and like make it happen to get people to commit to something. So it is some work on that front. But
Hey BJ, it's Mike, Kate's dad. I'm super interested in this. Kate's in 5th grade. I think the Sunday period would work great. I especially like what you're talking about because Kate and a lot of her friends either play softball or will play spring soccer. And April vacation is kind of that drop dead, date where you've got to be into full softball or soccer mode. It's the season starts then. So like we can definitely still play basketball up to that, April vacation. So I'm thrilled about it. Kate's definitely going to be in. I think the Sunday works great, and I'm happy to try to grab some other girls here in York that might be interested too in playing, another month past the end of our season. So I'm very excited about this.
that's great. So we got Brentwood versus York so far.
I also we have a neighbor that has a 6th grade girl that didn't make the middle school team, but she does rec and loves basketball. And I'd given her your card, over the summer, but they're really busy, but I'll let them know about this 5th and 6th grade program because their daughter really loves basketball.
That would be awesome. And I think that's honestly the primary avatar that I see is like 6th grade girls that didn't make their middle school team. Like they're pretty good. They played rec, but they kind of want more. And like this would be just a great way to accelerate things for them. So that's awesome. Thanks, Andrea. All right, moving on to other programs. So the 4-week focus. This has been a long running thing we've done. We've got a couple new developments in it, but the claim we're making here is we hope your player develop skills that stick. Like the most common complaint we hear from parents about other programs that I've really taken to heart and tried to work on is that they show up, they learn something, and then it kind of disappears. Like they don't work on it again, or they forget about it. And like summer camps, I think, are the pet peeve of mine where that shows up. Like they get a fire hose information in a week and then they don't think about it again and it doesn't really stick. And so what we're after is like really trying to refine that process that does make a skill stick with them. So we have 7 courses now. We're developing this new one, the defensive dictator, based on requests for people to do more work on the defensive side because my brain lives on the offense most of the time. And I think we have 1 week out of all the other 6 courses in the footwork course that's devoted to defense so far. And so this has been needed and is finally coming to happen. So basically, we take our evaluation process to kind of pinpoint, okay, your player is pretty good at these other things, but ball handling is really their biggest weakness, and we need to address that. So the ankle breaker would be an example of what we call our ball handling course. And it's a hybrid model. So we have a whole system worked out. Like what I arrived at over time and doing a lot of one-on-one training is like, the player can't absorb everything I want to tell them while they're trying to do the stuff that I'm asking them to do. It's like fire hose information while I try to move my body in a new way and execute a skill. This doesn't work. And so we've separated that by having a hybrid model with a video. We call it priming their brain before the workout. We send them a video so they can absorb, okay, this is what it's about. This is why we're going to do it this way. This is what it looks like. And then when they get to their court, they feel ready. They're not as nervous. They know what's up, they know what they're in for, and we can get down to work. And so we end up just having a lot less talk and more action on the court, and we get a lot accomplished. So these are also offered year round. We try to cycle them as far as what we are offering as a focus or a highlight of each course. And they're $425 per 4-week course. And new development for the year is that I'm now doing these in a small kind of semi-private group model on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So coming up in February, Tuesday night is going to be the sniper course. It's all about shooting. And Thursday night is going to be the ankle breaker, all about ball handling. And the other option that's been our norm in the past is to do that on an individual basis. So one-on-one training with the same hybrid course module. The difference is going to be the one-on-one sessions, we do only a half an hour because it's kind of, again, fire hose of information. It's like too much to remember what the first thing was by the end of an hour. And so we do it shorter. With a group, we're going to do a full hour so that we can have time to both break down a skill and go compete with that skill. So we're getting a lot of one-on-one action. Like here's a new ball handling move or thought. Here's a defender in front of you. Can you still do it with live defense? And like part of making it stick is making it game applicable so that it actually translates to something, so that we're not dribbling around a bunch of cones and feeling kind of good about ourselves, but then somebody tries to take it from us and we have no idea what we're doing. And then another package that we developed actually as part of our Black Friday sale and end of the year sale was what we called triple play. It was just 3 of these courses and you can pick any 3 at a discount. And then the bonus is that you get the Dr. Dish sessions for each week that you're doing the course. So basically the triple play is 12 weeks worth of content and you would get 12 Dr. Dish sessions. So this ends up being like a $1,635 value for $11.99 if you sign up to do 3 courses. And we've had several people do that over the new year, and seems to be working well. I already mentioned it's available as an individual or as a group. And again, we just do this to try to develop skills that stick. So, the one-on-one approach has really been our greatest lever to make sure that happens. And over time of doing this enough, I'm now pretty confident that a small group of 4 to 6 players, I can still get that result and have the benefit of having them go head to head with some competition in a small group and even accelerate that ability to make it stick. So there's a lot here. Any questions about this one? Confidence formula. This has been kind of our flagship program. Developed it 3 years ago. We've done a couple of iterations, so we're now on version 2.0 that we rolled out last year. This is kind of our fastest acceleration curve. So we go back to the model I started with our 5 phases. Like this is really phase 4, like typically 7th grade and up, where they're pretty serious basketball player. They know they want to play high school basketball. And this is like our college level course on every basketball idea and theory that we want a high school player to know. And we're doing that 2 years in advance of high school on purpose so that their next couple of years are like compound interest of them building on skills and ideas. So that, again, the freshman tryout is a non-starter for stress. It's I'm here and I'm ready and I'm probably the most prepared in my freshman class. So this should be pretty straightforward to get on the high school team. So it's again a hybrid curriculum. It's 12 weeks long. I call it the 12-story skyscraper. Like we really move fast. Is like here's a concept and a skill. Let's make sure you know that. Here's next week a new concept and a skill, and we're stacking that so it moves really fast. Whereas I like to contrast it with the 4-week focus we just talked about. Like that's 4 weeks spent all on one concept and one skill, and like really master that. And the confidence formula is like here's a week, here's a skill, and boom, next week is new, and it's moving fast. Keeps the players on their toes. And we do this now in a group model. We still offer in a one-on-one, but I've kind of talked it up so much in the group side that seen the benefits of the group side that most players opt to do it in a group setting. It's 24 hours on the court over 12 weeks. So it's an hour twice a week with a group of 6 to 8 players. And we're doing more and more lead time for this now. Like we've had players signing up since December. And so we're able to kind of filter and sort, who goes where in which group so that we get really good parity. Like this is all 7th grade boys that are all kind of at the same skill level and they're all going to work through this together. And therefore our competition just becomes really, really good because they're very well matched up. And with this, we developed what I call the what did they do guarantee, which is just every time we have a player go through this, the feedback we get from the parent is all of their friends and teammates and coaches and other parents all ask them, what did you do since we saw you last? Because you're a completely different player. And I don't know, that just makes me a special kind of happy because that's like the best compliment I could ever get is, they went and transformed themselves as a player. So we have 2 options with the packages here. The basic package is $1,800. We have another presentation actually on this program that goes into a lot of detail what's packed into this. Basic package is $1,800. The premium package is just tying on some Dr. Dish, some 3-on-3, some one-on-one support and mentorship, and a whole year of what we call a confidence warranty, which is video feedback and kind of off-court support. So any questions about that? I think most of you guys have kids that are in the younger age group than this would be applicable to. So no fault if you don't have any questions on that yet. And then the new one is my baby. This is something that I specifically invited several people to watch for tonight because I haven't had a chance to explain this in great detail. It's kind of been a brainchild just since last fall. But back to my 5-phase cycle that I started with tonight. The last phase is ambition. And this is where I see 8th graders right now as needing something like this. Because there's a lot of players that either didn't make their 8th grade team in middle school, or they made it, but they're not getting very much playing time. And therefore, they are not confident at all that they are going to make their high school team. And so what I started thinking about was like, well, what could I do? Like if I took everything I knew and packed it into one program, like what could we do in 6 to 8 months to try to guarantee a player to make their high school team? And so this was where I landed. And so we've got 2 players signed up right now. My goal is to get 8 so that we could actually have a legitimate squad to go play 5-on-5, and I'm going to invite some high school teams to our gym. We're going to go play some high school teams. Like, we're going to really go see what it's like to play high school basketball for these 8th graders in the path to preparing them for high school basketball. So the plan is 8 months of training starting in March, going right through November up to freshman tryouts. It's going to be at least a 2-day per week commitment. Our goal is to do a partner workout with 2 players at a time one night, and a group workout where we get all 6 to 8 players together. And then, like I said, competition, I'm thinking every 2 weeks at least, we're going to go either invite players or other teams to come and play us, maybe in our 3x3 model, or we're going to go out and play in a larger full-size gym and play 5-on-5 against some choice competition. And I'm really looking at this as replacing the need for an AAU program, because most of our players train with us but go play on an AAU team, and we get feedback all the time. It's like, we traveled all over, we paid all this money, you know, we paid for travel and food and lodging and everything else, and my player didn't really get much out of it. Like, they didn't get better, right? And then I often have said, you know, it's like they're frozen in time. Like, a 6th grader goes and plays AAU for 2 years, but the pressure is so high that they don't have any chance to try anything new and really progress. It's like, I'm doing what I know really well and not making any mistakes, and therefore I'm still here 2 years later. I played a lot of games, maybe I got a lot of game experience, but I didn't really level up and progress the way I would want to see someone go from 6th to 7th to 8th grade. So really to bring this about, and I'm really trying to figure out how to make a guarantee on this, like, you make your high school team or we'll refund your money, is really what I want to get to. I got to convince my business manager that that's a possibility, because she's not on board with that idea yet. But the kitchen sink approach is what I came up with when I was writing my presentation. Is we're going to do some strength and conditioning. We're going to give them some nutrition advice and planning for meals. We're going to do a lot of mental training and visualization. I'm going to have several books that I'm going to require them to read, and we're going to do a mastermind type of call. So both with the players, and then I'm hoping to invite like each of the main Division I, at least, high school coaches from the Seacoast. So we could get, you know, Matt Fennessy from Dover High School, and Johnny Mulvey from Portsmouth High School, and Jeff Holmes from Exeter High School, like, come on a Zoom call with those 8 players and talk about, like, hey, this is how I think of what a freshman should look like and what you should be working on and thinking about and all that. And then mentorship for me, you know, a lot of that is nowadays just texting a player 2 or 3 days a week, like, hey, what are you thinking about going into practice tonight? You know, how was last night's game? What do you think you could improve? And trying to get their thinking going. And then we're also going to include access to our Dr. Dish shooting machine. We have a new membership that we launched last fall called the 24/7 membership. Basically, you can get a key code to the gym so you can come in anytime and use it as you wish. We do a lot of vetting to make sure you're a good person and not going to hurt our equipment or anything. But you know, part of this program is going to be to give them extra gym access, because especially this time of year, if you can't shoot in the driveway and all the gyms are full of all the sports, then getting somewhere to just shoot and practice on your own becomes very important. And so what I've rolled all this into is an $8,000 package, which you know, comes out to about $695 a month over the year. And what we're going to do is 12 payments of $500, so that takes care of $6,000. And then I'm going to make a $2,000 bet that if they don't make their high school team, you don't have to pay us anymore. And if you do make your high school team, then we're going to figure out how to have you pay that $2,000 bonus. And basically, it's just a way to really make the incentive high for me, that like, I am doing everything possible to get these players across the finish line of making their high school team. And so this is the one I'm kind of the most excited about, if you can't tell already from my voice. Trying to make all of this that I've kind of done in pieces for players at different times, and really look at, you know, instead of over 2 years piecemeal, like, let's pack it into 8 months and make sure you have everything you need to play high school basketball. So I'm excited about that one. Any questions from you guys? All right. I would like to take questions in general. You are the ones that chose to join the call and do me the honor of listening in. So I'd love to get some questions from you. the ones you have are most likely the same that other people listening to the recording will have. So you can help me out a lot if you've got any questions on your mind.
Can you describe the hybrid method or whatever the hybrid,
Yeah.
explain that to me because I'm not familiar with that.
Okay.
I think I've seen what it is online, but I had questions about it.
Yeah, hybrid curriculum, it's a common term that I don't know if it came out during COVID and like online school work, but basically it just means we have two parts that are an online portion and an on the court portion. And so, each of our 4-week focus courses and our confidence formula course all have that aspect to it. And so I actually I have another presentation. I could send you a link to it, but I came up with an acronym called PERQ, PERQ, but it's prime their brain with the video at the start of the week. It is doing what I call an espresso workout, like trying to really give them a caffeine shot of basketball to the brain with our workout on the court. And then we are recording what we do on the court with a video so that they can watch themselves. And what we have come to call our practice database for each player is like, you go back to 6 months ago and watch yourself in a workout and you realize how much progress you made. And also, if you want to go practice tomorrow what we did tonight on the court, watching yourself on video is absolutely the best reinforcement way to do that. Like I can hand you a paper checklist of homework to do for basketball, but it's not nearly as effective as like you go watch yourself. Okay, I tried it the way I naturally did it the first time and failed. And then I see myself do it the way coach showed me how to do it and it worked. And now I know what I look like and I remember what it felt like to go practice that way. And then the Q is just a quiz at the end of each week's module. We try to get them to recall again, what was it called? Why do we do it that way? What were we working on so that it adds another layer of reinforcement and really, again, makes it stick. It's like all these things have been trial and error to like what actually makes it stick with the player the best, over a 4-week or a 12-week timeline.
Okay. And I guess when I was looking at this, so of course, if she's going to do this footwork one that starts on February 6th,
Yeah.
so she would come in every Thursday?
Yes.
Okay. And the time on Thursday again was?
The time on Thursday is 6 to 7 p.m.
Okay.
That's actually it's going to be the ankle breaker course here in
The
February.
ankle breaker, I guess that's
Yeah.
Okay.
And so that'll be all about ball handling. And we've got 2 other players so far that are signed up for that Thursday night. So
Okay.
a small group where we're breaking it down. Like we still get a good amount of individual attention, and then we get to play some one-on-one with that focus of the night.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
Good questions. You're welcome.
Hey, BJ, Luke, just real quick, the 3-on-3 league.
Yes.
I don't know if Grady would be old enough for that or not. I mean, he's 9. But I mean, in general,
Yeah.
and I don't know if this is even necessary, but if he wanted to play outside of rec, it seemed like something like that might be good just to kind of keep him going and keep him playing. But, I'm not pushing him into it or anything like that. It's just really more if he wants to, and figured some live game time can't hurt. But again, that's a bit of a elongated way of just asking, is he too young for that if he was interested in doing it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm always willing to let players try it. Like, it's usually players tend toward the opposite, where it's like, I'm too nervous, like I don't want to try playing up with these older guys. But, if he's feeling good about where he's at, and like, from my standpoint, I think he's on the cusp, if not there, to at least try it. He's probably gonna get overpowered. He's certainly gonna learn. Like he's gonna do that phase cycle again and like enter the exploration of like, oh, this is what it's like to play with these bigger, faster guys at this pace. And so anyway, so the short answer is yes, I would be happy with him trying it out and seeing if it's a fit. And like if he likes it, then it's always good on our end.
Yeah, a little bit of a challenge, kind of stepping up. Again, if he wants to, I don't want to push him into anything he doesn't want to do. But if he wanted, I just didn't know if it was even realistic. That's all.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking about ways to kind of keep them playing, you know,
Yeah.
like the regular.
I think we're also, we're discussing how to keep that exploration league kind of moving toward that too, because, I think we've had such a high rate of new players joining that we're kind of always circling back to some of the basics and we don't progress very well to competition. And so I've been talking with Ken about that. Who's, he's kind of owning that group right now. Like, what can we do, over each 4-week cycle? Like, can we move to they actually are playing 3x3 by the 4th week at least, and getting more game experience because that age group and that skill level is such a wide range that we can spend a lot of time without ever getting to that really kind of real life intense competition. And so yeah, I think Grady is, like I said, kind of right on the cusp. And so if he wants to try it out, like if he's there on Monday already and wants to stay with the older guys and test it out and see how he likes it, I'd be open to that for sure.
Cool. Yeah, no, that's great to know. Thanks, BJ. Yeah, yeah. Some of the stuff you guys obviously teach there and everything, like, doesn't necessarily happen. Like you were saying, there's a pretty wide range in rec in terms of the things that he sees, kind of with the kids that are at your program, right? And just generally things happening in a way that's more conducive to, good passes, good spacing, and coaching up when that doesn't happen versus rec. Like this, there's a few kids that, and it's fine, you know what I mean? It's just what rec is for. That, sometimes it can be hard for him to sort of execute the same things that he hears you guys tell him to do there. He's like, how do I do it out on the 5-on-5, you know what I mean, in rec or whatever? And I'm like, that'd be a question for them, honestly, because I don't even know how to necessarily explain that to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some thoughts, but very helpful. Thank you. And I'll go back to mute.
You're welcome. No, I think that's a very common problem. Like we hear that question even from, a lot of our middle school and our high school guys is like, we come in, we learn some really great concepts for spacing and like staying out of each other's way, which is kind of what I not quite jokingly, but jokingly talk about as the ultimate ideal of offense is stay out of each other's way, like, especially at the younger ages in rec. And so someone in Grady's age group is like, there are not only my opponent defensive team, but all my teammates are in my way because they're all clustered around the basket or the ball, and like we're not spread out enough to really be effective on offense. And so, that's where I actually started. I think before you joined, I was talking with Shelly about some of the work we're doing with Portsmouth with the coaches education, trying to get coaches better at teaching some of these concepts that can really help with, spacing and timing and, just having room to operate for a younger player can make a huge difference. And so, for Grady, I would say, like, try to find a teammate that he can, share one idea. Like, here's how drive and kick works. So when I do this, you do that. And like, at least the two of us are on the same page and can help each other out. But it's really hard to be an individual player on a team that doesn't follow the same philosophy. And, in a lot of cases just don't know how to structure a team at that age group effectively. It can be very frustrating, honestly. So,
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not, his coach is a great guy. And I think he's doing a really good job too. I was just, sometimes when he asks this stuff, I'm like, honestly, it's kind of a good question, and I'm not quite sure how to answer it.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like he's learning he's learning ideas that he might not see from his teammates for another 3 or 4 years is really where he's at. It could benefit him, but just the skill level and like what rec is designed to be, it's tough for sure. All right. Any other questions for me? Cool. Then we will call it a night. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thanks for doing this, BJ. Very helpful.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, BJ, very much. Really appreciate this.
You're welcome. Have a great night, guys.
Thank you too.